In the year 1915, 28 men got stranded in Antarctica. No rescue, no way out, freezing conditions, and somehow they survived. Not because they were the strongest, but because they followed a strict routine. Now, here's the part most people miss. That exact same principle is the reason most traders fail today. It's not strategy, it's not indicator, it's not lack of knowledge. It's the fact that most people operate in chaos. And in this video, I'm going to break down what exactly happened in that survival story, the psychological principle behind routine, and how you can apply it directly to your trading so that you can stop making emotional decisions and start executing with consistency. So watch this video till the end because I'm going to give you a simple routine you can follow immediately starting tomorrow. Now, I want to talk about a story, a real story. In 1915, 28 men were stranded in Antarctica. And this was basically the ship Endurance, which was a 1912 ship, was part of Imperial Transantarctic Expedition, and it became trapped and eventually crushed by ice. The crew was left stranded for nearly 2 years in total survival conditions, and they faced extreme cold, hunger, isolation, uncertainty, psychological pressure. Many survived this situation, and basically the leader, who was Ernest Shackleton, made a decision that changed everything for everyone. Okay, he did not focus on escaping, he focused on structure. And this is the story that we want to talk about, and I want to show you how building a really strict routine can help you in your trading career. So the biggest threat for these 28 men, it wasn't the cold, it wasn't the starvation, it was losing control mentally, because they were just like in the middle of nowhere in Antarctica and they could lose their sanity. Okay, so in these extreme environments, people usually don't collapse physically first, they collapse psychologically. So the leader, Ernest Shackleton, understood something that many people don't, even these days. If the mind collapses, everything collapses. Okay, instead of focusing on survival logistics, he focused on the structure. How? He built specific routines. Okay, fixed wake up times for the crew, daily responsibilities, assigned roles, even social interactions, and routine physical activities. These were some routines that these people had for 2 years, and finally they survived this weird, harsh environment. Okay, the routine did not improve their chance of escape. Okay, it didn't directly help them to escape, but it improved their ability to stay mentally stable long enough to survive. Those who trade or traded before, they should understand this. The goal, especially when you're starting out or when you're an intermediate trader, is not to just like escape your 9 to 5 and just like have a crazy progress and profit, be millionaire in 2 days. Okay, that's not the reality. The reality is that you want to have a routine and a structure that help you to live long enough to survive and ultimately grow. Okay, that would be the story of this session. So the core human principle people don't break because of conditions. They break because of lack of structure within those conditions. So routine, it's not about basically the productivity, it's about the control that you can have on pretty much everything. With this routine, you can reduce the uncertainty. Even if the environment is chaotic, your behavior won't be with a structured routine. So in extreme conditions, you can still have a clear behavior and rational behavior technically. It stabilizes your emotions. Predictable actions create a predictable mindset. So if you do have a routine and a predictable action, your emotions will be stabilized as well. With the routine, you can improve the decision making. Less randomness result in better thinking. And with routine, you can preserve your identity. You remain in control instead of being just reactive to any all the external basically variables. Okay, so that's the importance of routine. That's why having the routine is really important. Now, how is it related to trading? The market is technically your Antarctica. Okay, there are uncertain outcomes, emotional swings, constant feedback loops, and zero guaranteed results. The only guaranteed output is the fact that you're gonna have a loss. So it's actually a really harsh environment. You don't control the market, you only control your behavior. That's why having a routine is very important, because that's the only thing you can control. You can't control anything else. Okay? The outcome is uncertain. You don't know what will happen next. You don't know whether the price will go up or will go down. And our job as traders is not to predict the market. Our job is to just react according to whatever we're seeing the price action, according to our strategy. There are emotional swings. You're going to see multiple wins, multiple losses in a row. You see a trade is happening and you're not in the trade. You're seeing a setup is just like moving, prices moving all the way higher, and you experience the FOMO. So you will experience all of these emotional swings. There are constant feedback loops. So the moment you execute by yourself, you will get a feedback. If the price goes up in your favor, let's say you had a long position, you will have a feedback loop of like, okay, this setup was good. You will get a feedback. Whether feedback was like positive, it will give you I don't know, happiness emotion, or the feedback could be you entering the trade goes against you. You will immediately have this feedback loop very fast, and that would be probably, for example, anger, frustration. So you will get constant feedbacks from the market and from your executions, and the guaranteed result is basically there is nothing guaranteed in the market, right? And everything that we are trying to do as traders is following the statistics that can ultimately in long run help us grow the account. But every single trade result, there is no guarantee. So for that, so there is this is where most traders actually lose. They obsess over controlling the market instead of controlling themselves. So with all of these examples and with trading for at least a day, you probably should understand that you do not have control on anything. Exactly like those 28 people who were stuck in Antarctica for 2 years, they couldn't control anything. They couldn't control the weather, they couldn't control the extreme conditions, right? They couldn't control all the emotional swings if they didn't have the routine, right? No one can control any external variable. The only thing you can control is your own behavior. So, with knowing that, it's good to understand this iceberg illusion. So, what traders think causes failure for them is not having like no knowledge, or like not having enough knowledge, or needing better indicators or better entries. Well, if you don't have these, you shouldn't even start trading. But after having some sort of confirmation from the backtest, from all the concepts that we do talk about, if you have a structured system according to according to whole MTC incubator framework, you already do have these, and that's enough. If you're struggling, if you're failing, if you have challenges, if you can't grow your account, the problem is not more info or reading more books or having more indicators or like trying to make your entry precise. That's probably not the challenge, not the problem, as long as you do have them and you backtested and they work according to everything that we discussed, right? What actually dictates the survival in this situation is the emotional stability, repeatable process, morning routine, and environmental constraints. It's basically a structured routine that can help you to grow your account. You already know more than enough to be profitable if you follow the structure that we did talk about. You fail because your behavior is inconsistent, right? So you probably experienced some situations that you did have the setup, but you didn't react because you had fear, because you had like 2-3 losses in a row, right? So that's not the problem with the strategy. That's not the problem. Like, you don't have indicator problem or like entry problem, probably, right? That's probably environmental constraints, right? Or emotional stability that you didn't have at the moment. So let's talk about the performance truth as well, and then I will go over some differences between how professionals and amateurs start their trading day and end their trading day. So the performance truth. So under pressure, you don't think clearly, and trading is basically under pressure environment, right? It's an under pressure environment. You react emotionally, you default to your habits, and every day you try to practice new strategy, a new mindset, a new trader. That's the structure of someone who doesn't have any routine and just trades based on their own defaults. Okay. There's a very interesting quote: you don't rise to your best moments, you fall to your standard routine. So you need to change your routine in order to you can perform well under pressure. Okay, so that you can think clearly under pressure, so that you don't react emotionally, so that you have a structured habit and follow that instead of just like following your default habit of like getting scared, getting angry with any up or down in the market. Okay, so that you do not change your strategy or change your mindset or totally become a new trader every single day because you had a couple of wins or a couple of losses last week. Right? So an amateur trader in the pre-market, they will skip physical preparation. They rush straight into the charts. They don't have any mental reset. They don't have any routine in the pre-market. So they just wake up, they go straight to the charts and just try to just trade when the market opens. And when the market opens, they react to the news and chase every single move, especially early movements, the first like 10-15 minutes. And execution wise, they execute emotionally, and they just have some sort of a gut feeling, and some professionals, they do actually have gut feeling as well, but everything is according to the strategy and setup and a structure that worked in long run. What's usually amateur traders do is that they don't have any structure and system. They just see the prices and the candles, the red and green candles, and they just think about that. they just think about entering and exiting the position according to those emotions that they experience during the market. And after the trading day finishes, they just either stay glued to the screen for the whole day, right? Or after one trade, they stay glued to the chart for the whole day till maybe 4 p.m. Eastern time, because they're like, the market is open, why I shouldn't trade, right? So these are all behaviors that most of the traders do have when they start trading. Okay, so how can you get out of this phase? You want to build a professional architecture for yourself. Okay, you want to have a mental reset, meditation, okay, before the market open. For yourself. So you can have uh, basically a breath work before the market open for yourself. You can meditate before the market open. You can go for a run before the market open. Some sort of pre-market routine that can help you to reset. Then when the market open, you want to map economical calendar and wait outside the volatility window. You don't want to just trade the first 2 minutes, 1 minute, unless you read level 2 times and sales properly and just want to go for very quick scalps. Other than that, it's better to just wait for outside volatility windows for yourself and actually follow your structured plan. Execution wise, you want to have predefined checklists according to everything that we discussed in the incubator, and focus on the confirmed setup again according to your specific trading system, again according to what we talked about in the incubator, right? Then you want to have hard stop maybe after 90 minutes, 1 hour of trading. Just stop trading, no matter whether you have a red day, a green day, doesn't really matter. You should have a specific number of rules for yourself, both for the pre-market and after every single trade, and after maybe 11 a.m. Eastern time for yourself, so that you can stop your trading day according to certain rules. Again, we did talk about all of these rules in the last few sessions and in the program as well. But you need to have all of these all written, okay, and specific to yourself, instead of just trading based on your mood and emotions and the way you feel at the moment. You need to have a really systematic written structure for yourself and follow that. All right, so how to trade the open. Okay, the market rewards patience, not activity. Most traders feel a burning need to be in the market, especially when the market opens, the first few minutes of the market open, because the volatility is really high and everyone thinks like, if I were entering here, I could have made this amount of money, that amount of money. But the reality is that if you could make a specific good amount of money, you could probably lose that amount of money if the trade was going against you. So the whole volatility will makes the whole risk management a little bit challenging, especially when you're starting out. So you need to make sure you're comfortable with that risk management. Okay, and by simply stay patient for waiting for the market to show its hand to you, you can execute properly according to your system. So professionals feel comfortable doing nothing. Doing nothing is actually something in trading, okay? Unlike all the other professions and careers, if you don't do anything, you feel like you're not productive. But in trading world, if you can stay inactive and just stay patient and don't do anything because you're waiting for the actual setup to happen to you, that's a positive sign, okay? That's called patience. So the execution rules could be checking economic calendar, identifying volatility windows, and wait for levels, wait for confirmations, wait for the setups to come to you instead of you chasing it. So without mapping this whole market context, you can't actually trade properly and will probably trade blindly. So the execution filter would be market. Chaos would be on top of this whole funnel. Pretty much everything in the market, the news, the overall market, technicals, fundamentals, everything is there. Now, if you want to absorb all of these information and just input them directly to your trading system, you can't really handle that amount of data and information, and it's not even useful, right? You need to have execution checklists for yourself and only execute when all of them are checked. That's why we have a system to avoid all the movements in the market and only take the movements that are according to our plan and just take the trade there, because this is what we want. This is all the other information that is out there in the market, which is not related to my trading. So the entry trigger, the defined stop loss, reward to risk ratio, all the confirmations from the price action to volume to everything else that you use should be your execution, basically checklists, in order to filter all the information and all the noise from the market all the way till the bottom of this whole funnel so that you can have a controlled trade. Okay, so instead of guessing or predicting, execute predefined rules to force chaos through a strict behavior filter, right? That's the whole goal. So the 90-minute limit that I mentioned, according to studies, there is something called emotional decay curve, right? So the longer you stay in the market and stay behind the chart and watch the price action, the less your emotional discipline and focus will be. So after around like 1 hour, 90 minutes, it will drop drastically. Okay, it's a fatigue zone, and usually mistake increase over time after like 90-minute time frame. So focus declines and emotional fatigue increases, and profit come from quickly, not profit just come from quality of like taking trades around these times in the first 90 minutes instead of just staying behind the chart for the whole trading day, like from 9:30 a.m. till like 4 p.m. So instead of just trying to catch every move in the whole market during the whole time, try to focus on the quality by setting these filters for yourself, and make sure you do have a specific time that you focus on the price action and your whole trading system, and you take care of your whole emotional status. All right. So to sum it up, to sum everything here up, from the pre-market till the market open, till the execution and the post-trade, you need to focus on the opening, have execution filters for yourself, and make sure you trade a specific amount of time so that you don't get exhausted and don't make stupid, dumb mistakes and trades. So the whole routine will start technically from the pre-market. Okay, this is the professional operating system. Starting from pre-market, starting from eliminating the randomness and understanding the levels, having the support and resistance zones for yourself, having a clear watch list, a focused watch list of specific names that you want to focus on instead of just focusing on everything in the market. The next phase would be the execution. Okay, the discipline phase, which is the controlled behavior, following checklists and define risk when you're executing. Then it would be managing the trade, which is protecting your capital, moving stop loss, avoiding emotional exits, and That would be managing the trade as it is happening. Then the trade ends. You want to review. This is the learning phase, and you want to see how you can improve the system, track the consistency, and identify the mistakes. And finally, it's a reset or mental reset phase where you take a step away from the charts, reset emotionally, so that you can maintain the discipline. This is the routine that you need to have in order to stay disciplined in the market. So just having a pre-market plan doesn't help you become a disciplined trader, because you need to execute properly. You need to filter properly. You need to have a system that helps you to filter all the data properly and only basically lets you to take the trade whenever all the confirmations are checked. Now, you have all the entry confirmation checked, the execution is checked. When you're in the trade, you need to manage the trade properly, right? You need to manage your basically capital. You need to move your stop loss. You need to monitor the market to see whether the market is actually moving in your direction or not. Is there any additional news or catalyst that is coming out? And all of these are true for any kind of trader, for scalpers, for day traders, for swing traders. Doesn't really matter what you do. It's the same concept, the same structure. Now, except for example, swing traders, the pre-market would be before you want to analyze the market and trade, right? Because if you're swinging, you technically don't need to analyze the pre-market. You can, obviously, that can help a lot, but you don't have to. But that's basically pre-trade preparation, right? So after managing the trade and ending the trade, closing the whole trade, you need to review it. You can't just like take some trades, buy and sell, and then forget. You need to review and see whether the setup is according to your system or not. Did you follow the plan? Didn't you follow the plan? What was the problem? What was the strength? What was the weakness? You want to journal it in order to improve. And finally, you don't want to trade every single second of the whole day. You want to just take a step back, just go live your life, right? If you're, let's say, day trading, before the market open, you're analyzing the market for 1 hour, 2 hour. You can be behind the chart 1 hour, and in the evening you can analyze your setup and then just do everything else that you're doing in your life. Okay, you don't have to just focus on looking at the charts and the market for 10 hours in a day. Like that's not the whole goal. The goal of trading is to be able to trade for a couple of hours, or analyze the market for a couple of hours, open a position for a couple of hours, close the position after a couple of hours, again, depending on your day trading, swing trading, scalping. And then the rest of the time, do whatever you're doing. If you're working, if you're running your business, you want to go to the gym, do something else, stay with your family, do those, because you need to reset. You can't stare at the charts 24/7. So please don't do that as well. The knowledge and chaos together will result in psychological collapse, because there is no routine there to help you to get out of this chaos. If you do have a routine and some chaos happens, you will have some temporary survival. But a routine with the correct environment, if chaos happens, that would be the perpetual consistency structure for you. Okay, so this leader Shackleton didn't just give his men a schedule. He built a social architecture to enforce it when their willpower actually faded during all of those emotions that could kick in the Antarctica in like crazy harsh cold weather, right? So that's why we do have this structure in Meta Trading Club. So we start from the pre-market. So make sure you join the pre-market sessions where we analyze the market, go over the levels, analyze the fundamentals, analyze the technicals. Then the live trading sessions where we trade all together. For example, today we traded Meta together. A couple of you guys traded Macros, I think Tesla together, right? In the evenings, we have the webinars. And finally, in the whole community, this accountability structure, from posting your game plans in the pre-market to posting your trade recaps, and all the in-person meetups that we do have quarterly, and we're going to have soon as well. This can help you to basically trade with a system and stop relying on just willpower, rely on the system and the environment. Okay, so just accessing to all the tools doesn't really help you with anything. You need to execute, you need to attend, you need to show up, you need to make sure you are actually present, ask questions, and participate in all of these activities. Okay, so a 5-day challenge that can help you to build a routine for yourself starting from tomorrow. You want to set a fixed pre-market time for yourself, build a strict watch list for yourself, execute maximum 2 to 3 trades per day. Don't exceed that. Follow the execution checklist. This is basically your strategy. Your like this itself will, like, we spend more than probably 20 hours in the whole incubator discussing all different strategies, all different concepts, all different entry exit methods, and those would be your checklist of confirmations for entering and exiting the trades depending on the strategy. And hard stop after your trading window. So you don't want to stay behind the chart the whole day. You want to have a hard stop, take a step away from the charts, and just live your life, and then come back and trade the next day with a clear mindset. Okay, so if you don't build a routine, the market will build one for you, and you won't like it. It will be just the routine will the routine that market will build it for you will be just emotional reaction to everything. So instead of letting that happen, make sure you build this routine for yourself and stick to it. And this is just an example that you can start with. You need to make sure you add to it, update it depending on your needs and your personality. So if you really think about it, those men didn't survive because they escaped quickly. They survived because they stayed structured in uncertainty. And trading is the same. You're not losing because you don't know how to trade. You're losing because your process isn't consistent. And that's not a strategy problem, that's a structure problem. And the truth is, building the structure alone is really hard. No accountability, there is no feedback, no environment to keep you disciplined. And that's exactly why we built Meta Trading Club, where you prepare in the pre-market, live trade with us with structure, learn through the real sessions, and you're not guessing, you're basically executing with structure with us. So if you want the full experience, we have 7-day free trial so that you can come in, trade with us, and start building real consistency with us in the community. And if you want to join, the link is in the description below. Like always, if you guys enjoyed this session and these kind of videos, please like and subscribe if you're new to the channel so that you don't miss the next videos. We'll see you guys in the next one.